live right here, coming at you from the Midwest of the USA. How are you guys? Thanks again for waiting. As you can see, I have a completely new setup. So that's why it took me so much extra time. And then the light is just nuts. I think it's better, but I'm not 100% sure. Not 100% sure of anything. And that's all right. Good morning, Mrs. Amir Zaza and Susan D.A. Huffy Gal, Francine G, Sherry I, Mark M, Crime Story Diva. Oh, it's so much easier just doing the initials for the last names. I hope that's okay for you guys. So, how was everybody's weekend? Let me guzzle some coffee and get the show on the road, right? Guzzle, guzzle, guzzle. Because I'm setting up all the lights and everything. I didn't even have time to drink my Java. And that's not right. Dennis D, good morning. So, you guys, I don't want to start out talking about those freaking trolls because let me start out with my normal disclaimer. Everything that I say is simply my opinion. It's simply for the sake of conversation, hoping to open up a discussion. I'm always hoping to learn something. I'm always hoping that my videos are educational, and my videos are all made specifically for the YouTube, which is an entertainment platform. So thanks so much for being here, you guys. And let me just address the trolls right away, because I think they're probably watching, lurking. And I don't really want to give them any hot tips, but at the same time, like, go away. If what I was saying was completely off base, would there be trolls coming around? I mean, sure, yeah, there's all kinds of trolls, but the trolls. Like, why are people getting threatened? Why are people getting their channels shut down? Because they're hitting the truth. If we weren't hitting the truth, the evildoers wouldn't care what we say. I mean, we're just peons, right? We're just minions. So that right there is a lot of information. The fact that they're coming out of the woodwork, and not just my channel, lots of channels. So, like I said, I don't want to give them any hot tips, but at the same time, they are exhausting. So, you guys, let's just jump right in with the freaking gaslighting, okay? Because I've been gaslit again, as I know everybody here has. What did I put in my title? I put, I should have wrote Gaslit Nation, but I think what was it? Was it the thing about the crashed car? Was it the thing about the two dudes? I think it was the thing about the two dudes, right? Kaylee saying that she had been followed by a couple of guys like a month before she got brutally massacred. What a quinky dink. That is true. And the moms of the kids, we are correcting and keeping everything in the forefront. Okay, 3434 Triple J, you are using one of my favorite 3-word sentences. That is true. So thank you for that. It always cheers me up. That is true. Or that's true. And it's from a music video, one of my favorites. I'll give you a hint. The icon for my channel is a screenshot from that music video. So if you don't know what one of my favorite bands is, it's Weezer, and that's Weezer in that icon. And at the beginning of the video, there's just a little bit of conversation. And the drummer says, "That's true." And it's really cute. And Hugh Hefner's in it, of all things. My goodness, it's Beverly Hills. Okay, I'm not going to torture you guys with all the guessing games. The song is Beverly Hills. The music video is what I have that cool screenshot. And it kind of looks like this, actually. It's like all green, and it's the grotto. It's the coolest swimming pool in the world. You know, if you were a millionaire, bazillionaire, wouldn't you want one of those? So that is true. Let's get on with it. So these two dudes following Kaylee, and then the popo says that they track the two dudes down and that they check out and that it's all cool. What? It's cool to follow a girl around if she's pretty and you're just trying to figure out how to talk to her? Right. Yeah. It's sus AF. And the fact that that happened 2 months before she was brutally attacked and unalived, probably more than a coincidence, you guys. Probably more than a coincidence. So, I fell for it. I fell for it just like everybody, right? We want to believe the police, whatever the police say, and they know this. They know that all they have to do is say something. It doesn't matter what. They know that people are going to buy their story hook, line, and sinker because that's what we've all been taught to do. And if we don't believe them, then we look like the jerk, right? So it's not okay for dudes to be following young women around. Can you imagine how scared she must have been? 2 dudes following her around, like, I think it was, like, in a store or something, but how did they track those 2 dudes down? And how did they know that the 2 dudes were just up to not no good? What? That's crap. That's utter freaking dumpster fire, dog mess crap. So I like to say, dog mess in a burning paper bag, right? So you have to stomp on it to get the fire out. Um, so the other two big gaslights that we've all bought into, and these remind me, harkening back to the Kylie Rodney case not too many months ago, reminds me of the bodysuit, reminds me of the sighting in Reno, reminds me of the topless woman running down the street in Sacramento, getting thrown back into the silver CRV. None of that had anything to do with Kylie, right? Sure, sure. Um, so this was the other one, you guys. I think those two things, no, uh, that one thing, the two dudes is one thing, right? Um, There were 5 occupancy women being stalked since the crime, and that's only what I know of. A girl at Wazoo had to hold a man back with her front door in February to were aggressively stalked. Oh my goodness, thank you for bringing that up. The way the not Moscow, either Pullman PD or Wazoo PD handled that. I'm not sure which one it was. Um, they said, I think it was Pullman PD. They said whoever the guy was that was trying to push the door in, if he could contact us and tell us his side of the story, that would really help us clear the air. They literally said that, you guys. I'm not hallucinating. I know it sounds like I'm making that crap up because, huh? Yeah, he's gonna be calling the police saying, "Yeah, that was me trying to get in the door, and, I just thought she was pretty and was trying to talk to her," or whatever. Oh, just a big freaking misunderstanding. Oh my goodness. Ugh, it's so gross. So, no, it's never okay. This crap is never okay, but I'm telling you, Pullman is the sexual assault capital, one of them in Washington state. I won't name the other one just because I don't wanna be mean. But, um, the other one's in Western Washington, and people around Western Washington know. Um, Crime Story Diva says, "I think the Goncalves or Gonsalves, I'm gonna say Gonsalves family, but I think you might have spelled it differently. I think it's Goncalves. Not to be nitpicky, but just because everybody stumbles over it every single day, including myself. I think the Gonzalez family thinks others are involved, and that's why they keep asking for more tips on their Facebook page. I'm convinced others are involved. 100% convinced. If others weren't involved, there wouldn't be trolls attacking YouTube channels. Fact. So I have two more written down, two more of the major gaslights. Um, One was when the police changed their story. Yeah, remember when the first time the police changed their story? Because they kept saying it was a targeted attack. We're not sure which one or more of the roommates were targeted, but we know it was a targeted attack. Remember that? The first few days? Oh, everyone can relax. Don't be scared. The targets have been successfully targeted, so it's over. Nothing to see over here. No one else should be getting hacked apart right now, so we're cool. Um, and then a few days later, they said, wait, we're not at all sure that anybody in the house was targeted. We're thinking maybe the house was targeted. Again, I sound like I'm making it up, don't I? I literally sound like I'm making that crap up. The police retracted their story that somebody in the house was targeted or some buddies in the house were targeted. And they said, we think the house was targeted. Or maybe it was more of a query like we think the house might have been targeted. We're not sure if it was a person that was targeted. It could have been the building itself. Can I just do a little pop quiz class? If a house is being targeted, why would anybody hate the house so much that they were going to stab a bunch of people that were in it? Why would anybody have that kind of wrath to unleash on a structure? I can only think of one reason, and I don't want to say it. Can somebody say it for me, please? Crime Story Diva. I think, oh, okay, I read that already. Please, class, jump in. Thugs, drug dealing thugs, right? There was a report I saw on Plunder on a neighbor whose car was broken into and her undies were only things taken by Deperp nearby. Yeah, I saw that too, Miss Amir Zaza. And it's actually a really good body cam video to watch because you just get more of a feeling for the neighborhood. And I think that the car prowler was it over the summer? It was a few months before, or maybe it was even spring. It was, I think it was last spring of 2022. But it was a while back. It was definitely a ways back in time. And at first, I thought, well, why would we waste our time watching this? What does this have to do with anything? And it wasn't a waste of time. The house is one of the two houses right in between Jack D's residence and Kaylee's old residence. It's the light blue house, I think, and it's a fascinating story. So I would recommend going and watching that Plunder episode from a few months ago. It is hard to do that kind of crime, right? Toby toes. I think so. Again, talking about post-traumatic stress disorder, there are people that can do that type of crime and it's not hard for them. Although some people that do those types of crimes, it is hard for them. They traumatize themselves. So, yeah, poor them, right? That's another thing that gets me with all these freaking po over there in the Moscow area is the woe always me. They're always the victim. I'm sorry. If you're in law enforcement, grow some, okay? Like, yeah, you have to thicken your skin. People are always going to criticize you no matter what you do. I've been in jobs like that. And you know what? It doesn't matter. You put on your gloves, you're not there to box, but you are ready. And mostly you're just guarding. You don't want to have to throw a punch. You're just guarding. And did I show you guys my ugly bruise again? I did. No, it's not that bad. Okay, I thought I saw it, but I'll show it to you. Like, oh, whoa, 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 it's so bad. That's so ugly. I'm not showing it again. So yeah, I didn't get that boxing. I got that falling off that freaking stool. Not falling off, just the thing flying out from under my feet and me just hitting the ground. I'm not going to tell the whole story, but that's my story. I'm sticking to it. No changes. Um so yeah, when you're in a job like that, you have to fight and you don't freaking care because you know what? You know that what you're doing is what is right. You know you're making the best decision because you're trained and you're skilled and you know how to save lives. And if you're doing the best job that you can, anybody wants to criticize you, they can screw off, right? Telling you. I'm telling you. And that kind of goes for all of us, no matter what our job is. So, this isn't my job being on YouTube, but it's kind of, I guess, like a hobby. And I love doing it. It's a great way to express yourself and find your voice and just be yourself, right? And I feel like I'm hitting my stride. I'm being myself. I'm more comfortable talking to you guys, and people are going to come at me. So be it. So be it. They can screw off. Like I said, I didn't want to spend too much time talking about the trolls because they can get you off track. I want to talk about the case. At the same time, they can get you on track because they can just catapult you right into the meat of it. Um, Good Monday morning, KC. I'm so grateful that people are finally saying it out loud. It's scary and unsafe. The Wazoo moms are telling the truth. Substance house landlord is likely involved. He wants it down. Well, so that was the third gaslighting. And I'm not sure about this, you guys. I mean, honestly, I'm not sure about any of these things. Everything I say is my opinion and more of a question than a statement. I mean, I don't know. I'm not there. I don't know these people. I don't have a magic ball. I have a lot of experience and I often feel like I can see through the BS. So the third thing I have written down is that crashed car. Remember the white Elantra that was crashed in Oregon and abandoned, and they took the plates off, right? And it was like, oh my goodness, it's the car. Okay, without the plates, it's not going to be that hard to just like look at the VIN number, even if they scratched it out. Authorities have ways of being able to see what that VIN number is. So people said that the car was involved, that was the car. And then people said, no, the car is cleared. It has nothing to do with anything. And then it was said that the records of the car go back to the landlords that own 1122 King Road. And I think they live in another state, maybe Colorado or something. Maybe right near that town that Koberger drove by when he went 800 miles out of his way. I don't know. Like I said, it's a question. A guy was sitting in a girl's car after the crime. Another car had her car ransacked after Christmas. So, I keep watching the video of, and I'm just going to say it, I just like to say it like it is. The video of Kaylee in the sausage dress. Okay. That's what I call it, the sausage dress. It's that kind of mustardy colored, um, it's not a sweater. I thought it was. I thought it was a sweater dress, but it's a mini dress. It's sleeveless. It's got weird strings that come up the sides and go down below her knees. If you're wondering what that is hanging off of her dress, that's just part of the style. And even in the sausage dress, and I think that, Kaylee just doesn't look like herself that day. Like she's stressed out. Obviously, the police came to her freaking back door. Like that's not legal, you guys. That is not legal. And they even say in the tape as they're doing it, like how they would defend themselves. No. So this is the tape where one of them says, "Oh, look, no stairs to the balcony." Something to that effect. And they're talking to Kaylee, they're talking to the guy with the zip ties. I keep watching that video because there's so much in it. There's so much in it. At the very beginning, when they're walking up to the house, there's like a white Hyundai Elantra in it. Actually, no, there's like 5. I'm not kidding you. There's one really close to the house, but there's 2 on the right, I think, that are white, and then 2 on the left that are silver. I am not shitting you. 5 Hyundai Elantras, or they look like they could be the Hyundai Elantras. Maybe they're Chevrolet. I don't know. It's hilarious though. There's 5 of them. Just like from 50 yards to get to the house. Watch that freaking video. And Plunder's got that one too. And then right as they approach the door and they knock at the door, this is the video that has the weird guy who says he's looking for something. This weird guy is walking like right up to their door. And this is August 16th, I think. I think that's the timestamp, the date on that body cam footage. And he's wearing like a baseball t-shirt and he's kind of like, oh, I was looking for a thing. Did you find it? And the police officer gives him a business card and he wanders away. Like he's really close to that house for not being invited. I mean, it just makes me wonder. It makes me wonder a lot. Like that guy should have been treated like Justin or Enan, in my opinion. The kids all know that car was owned by the same LLC that owned the 1122 house. So Heather, thank you, because I don't know the receipt that goes with this. So I don't know if you do, but that's what I've heard again and again. That's kind of what 343.4 is saying. The 1122 owner owned that car. And with all the numbers in the name, one of my mods has numbers in their name. And we had that troll a few days ago with the 8s. Those 2 numbers specifically in your name would be much like having 666 in your handle, just for anybody who wasn't clear about that. And yeah, the 8th letter of the alphabet, which I knew that once and I'd forgotten. So that's why it's not so much because 8s look like H's. It's because it's the 8th letter of the alphabet. But that would be like Skittles Riddles 666. It's like, no, thank you. None of your Skittles Riddles over here. Thanks anyway. Take them somewhere else. Just per creep surrounding this town. Right. Well, this town, Moscow, is not nearly as bad as its sister town, Pullman, which again, Pullman's only 7 miles away, but it's a very different culture there. It's not much culture, honestly. The culture is in Moscow, even though as a town, Moscow's a bigger town. As the school, the university, U of I is half the size or less of Wazoo, but the town of Moscow is twice the size of Pullman, roughly, maybe. No, I'm sorry. It's about the same size. I think that Pullman is about 11,000 and Moscow is 13,000. And then you add the universities to that. With the University of Idaho, you're adding another 11 or 12, probably more like 11. And then with Wazoo, I think you're adding more like 25,000. It's a pretty big school. So, and yeah, I mean, it's more than twice the size of Idaho, University of Idaho. Ellie was so inappropriate in that cam footage. Well, I started to talk about how Kaylee looked unflattering in the sausage dress and the stress in her face. But I wanted to make it a compliment, not a backhanded compliment, but a direct compliment. Even at her worst, she looks mighty fine, in my humble opinion. And I think that any guy would be extremely attracted to her in a tight mini dress, sausage dress. And she's got spunk, she's got personality, she's very appropriate, she's very polite, she's very intelligent, and she ain't taking no BS, she's just taking care of business. And people love people like that, right? Let's see. So yeah, they were completely inappropriate in that footage. Ski resort in Colorado, Blue something was where BK went on his way to PA. Payne was warning her or collecting or dropping. The guy is HJ. That guy is HJ. Do you mean the guy in the baseball t-shirt that was like wandering around looking for something in front of their front door? Denise D says, I'd like to see the video of the morning of the crime, hours between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. before the 911 call, and see all the happenings that took place at 11:22. Absolutely. And if there's ever a trial, perhaps that will become public information. I hand one in my driveway. The kids were away on spring break, left the Elantra here. No one ever asked her in Pullman or Moscow. Oh, yeah. So if you owned one living in Pullman or Moscow, I know they were so busy because they had to check out 22,000 of them, remember? Like that was just so bizarre. Again, woe always me. Oh, we've got thousands of emails. We've got all these tips to sift through. Oh, keep bringing us your tips, even though we're completely bombarded and overwhelmed and don't know how to handle it. Just a bunch of effery, a whole bunch of effery. So let me see what else I have in my notes. Talking about that new detective, I'm not 100% sure that there's a new detective on the case. It was the channel that I'm really suspicious of that had that breaking news, and I don't think I've heard it come from any other place. So I want to kind of walk that back, that could be somebody trying to spread a rumor. So I wanted to address that. And, in my last video, I said how in a SWAT situation, everybody is on pins and needles. It's very tense. Oh, sorry. My phone. Where is it? It fell. How annoying. Hey, I'm live. I'm going to hang up. Okay. Sorry, you guys. I'm glad I answered it because it was one of my mods and she must not know that I'm live. So maybe she can come on here. Let's see. He is not the lead detective on the case. He is just assigned to the case. Yeah. And do you remember his name? It's that name that's really hard to say. And I was going to look for it just because it's good to be specific. It's like Mosier or something like that. Mowery, Mowery. So Detective Mowery. So in this James Bond channel a few days ago, he made a video saying that he was the lead detective. And he made it sound like it was a new lead detective. So maybe he is like a new lead detective, but the other guy is still the lead detective. I mean, not trying to sound confusing. I'm thinking that that's a possibility, but Mowery is trained in the forensics, and the channel, the James Bond, knows everything about Mowery's training, like every little detail, every little twist and turn. Like it's kind of odd. Unless of course he's like a coworker of his or something. I don't know, a friend of his. But there he's talking about the magnet axiom, and that's the training that Mowery had, the magnet axiom. It sounds so like, James Bond, magnet axiom. It's like all that means is like attracting the truth, basically. Magnet and axiom. Like axiom is just like, the truth that is assumed, right? That's like kind of a way to describe the definition of that word. So anyway, magnet axiom is so fancy. for finding the truth. I mean, that's the name of the training that teaches you how to go through digital data, basically. Um, so, yeah, the old detective or the lead detective, um, one of the Payne brothers, and the um, I was talking about the SWAT team and how in a SWAT standoff like that, it's very tense. It's very tense. If you've got an active shooter, that's a fear factor. And it's also very emotional, extremely emotional. Some of those first responders, it's going to be their first SWAT incident. And some of those first responders, I said this, probably know Kopaka or knew Kopaka. And that's a very emotional place to be. I've spoken with first responders that have been in situations pretty much exactly like that. And, you know, they cried for a year. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Um, Lawrence Mowry, right. Thank you. I think I don't think it's spelled that way, but yeah, I looked it up and I think the spelling's different, but thanks. Absolutely. And he was hired, I think, in 2018 for Moscow PD, and he had prior experience. Payne and Fry are not around. I think the new detective is correct. So, yeah. Learning more about Fry and his wife and learning more about Payne. Wow. I thought he was FBI from out of state, but I'm not sure. The Lawrence Mowry is an employee of Moscow PD. I've looked him up. Good morning, Kale. Thanks so much, everybody, for being here, and thank you, Maud, for being here. So those were the things I wanted to talk about. Really, was the gaslighting. Not so dumb blonde. Good morning. And they had a couple other things too. Hold on, just a second. Um, you know, Payne and his brother, Kyle Payne and Brett Payne, they both went to the University of Idaho somewhere around 2005 to 2009, just to give you an idea. They're 2 years apart. And I think that the older Payne, Kyle, 2 years older, I think he graduated in '05 and went straight to Moscow to IU or U of I. And then Kyle, 2 years younger, I think graduated in 2007 and went straight there. And then I think that they both went straight from their bachelor's degrees into basically being enlisted in the Army. And then uh, Kyle's brother, Kyle is the brother, he's still in the Army. So he's been in the Army ever since. And I think that Brett, the younger one, I think he got a master's degree at the University of Idaho too, right? Does anybody else know? I remember early on reading or maybe a video with one of the survivors talking about a Brian driving a white car that had been recently been visiting someone at 1122. I can't find it. Why wouldn't law enforcement get a hold of Kopaka's family during SWAT situation? They could have talked to him. Well, and where is the outraged Veterans Association group, right? Um, so yeah, thanks, Kale, for deleting that video or deleting that one that I just read about the video. So, Casey, that is not anything I've ever heard. And it's stuff like that we try to keep out of our chat because somebody will go, "Oh, really?" and run with it. So, Kale, thank you for taking care of that. And you got to be careful, or we'll have to do a timeout because that's messed up. So yeah, and that's why I have a mod, because I was thinking that when I was reading it out loud, I was thinking, wait, this isn't making sense and this is messed up, but I'm live. So that's the problem with trolls too. So what had happened when I was doing my lives all the time with the Kylie Rodney case, the trolls started coming out of the woodwork and froze up my computer. And so I quit doing the lives for a long time. Remember that? I think it was about November. So it was before this happened on November 13th. And I don't think I did my first show covering the Idaho 4 until probably more like the 20th of November, because I was not going to cover it. I was hell bent on not covering it. And then I think it was like a whole nother month before I started doing lives again. So yeah, they can really derail you. Hey, Annie Potts, did you get my email? Huge bomb. No. Should I look at it right now live? My understanding was they were twins. No, they're not twins. And one died in a car accident. Oh, what? So some people think that the Payne brothers look like twins, and they do look a lot alike. They're not twins. Um, Wow. Yeah. So Kopaka, I think, was the oldest of 6 siblings, you guys. And I did have it incorrect the other day with the Gonzalez family. I said that they had 4 kids. They have 4 surviving kids, and they have 5 kids, one of them deceased, unfortunately. So I wanted to clarify that. And yeah, I'm going to see. I'm going to risk it, you guys. I'm going to try to check this email while I'm live. I don't know how we missed it, is what Annie wrote. Let's see. Look at what number 9 is doing to Maddie. Are those pliers? And I think she bites his finger. What in the world? We must get this out. Huh? Okay, so there's a whole bunch of screenshots, you guys. It's like over a dozen of them. And I don't see it. So, and I don't know look at what number 9 is doing to Maddie. Do you mean the 9th box? Because that's like 7, 8, 9. I have no idea. No idea whatsoever. But thank you. And if you want to explain it to me, please do. I'm glad. Look at that. I did it. I looked at the email while I'm live. Is that so cool? Let's see. Hi, everyone. Yes, check out the email live. It's mind-boggling, and literally everyone missed it. I've heard no one talk about it. How do you know it's not a fake or Photoshop? I went back through. Yeah, that is really wild. I went back through the Grub truck video, dude in the number 9 jersey, and the guy in the number 9 jersey. What it looks like he has pliers. I'll have to check it out. The guy in the number 9 jersey is grabbing Maddie's face with a pair of pliers. It is just a fake or Photoshop. That is from the Grub. It is not a fake or Photoshop. That is from the Grub truck video. Grabs Maddie's face with a pair of pliers. That's the most bizarre thing I've ever heard, Annie. Excuse me. Big gulp. I got to just guzzle, because that one is bending my brain. So yeah, who grabs anybody's face with a pair of pliers? That's worse than Brian Laundrie grabbing Gabby's face like that, which was pretty bad, right? Wow. So Kaylee's dad, Steve Gonzalez, for anybody that doesn't know, he's an IT specialist. He works IT for the Kootenai County Hospital, or Kootenai Hospital. And you guys know that Kootenai County is like known for being really bad with the thugs. It's like one of the worst places. So imagine what Steve would see being the IT specialist at the hospital there. Again, with the trafficking, with the substance trafficking, with the human trafficking. It's pretty weird stuff. And so I also wanted to follow up, you guys. I'm following up on all this stuff. Nathan D. Gonsalves from Cornell, Washington. I think that is Steve's brother. I think that Nathan D. Gonsalves is Kaylee's uncle. And I think that he might have been busted for substance. Let's see, either possession of substances or distribution. I'm not sure. So, it says both. If you Google trying to find the facts about that, trying to look at the receipts, it says that it's not related, that they're not related, and it says that they are related. So one of the places where I found where it says that they're related, which I think is very reliable, is in the obituary of Steve Gonzalez's father, who passed away, I think in July or June of last year, 2022. So sad that the family lost the grandpa in June and then Kaylee in November. Like, mind-boggling. Absolutely mind-boggling. She bites him after he does it. He is clearly physically assaulting her with a pair of pliers, and she bites him after. That is freaking crazy. That is the most bizarre thing. So let's see. Kaylee said to her father, the trafficking is real, right? We've all heard that. We've all heard Steve say that in one or more interviews, that his daughter said to him, the trafficking is real. Just, don't blow right by that. Stop and take it in. Kaylee's family put out a message to reach out through their family Facebook and tell them. That was yesterday or today. You mean trying to get more information? I've watched the Grub truck video so many times and missed it so many times until yesterday. There's a lot in that video. Tell them what? His brother is really ill, and it's sad. It's his brother, but he's ill. Ill with addiction or ill with other stuff like cancer or something. The pics I sent you, I also sent to the G family new tip line for the PI. Excellent, Annie. Very cool. So I did want to share with you guys. I took the kids, me and my husband took the kids to the movies last night. If you have a family of 6, do not go to the movies. So it's like over $100. But we went to a movie together as a family. We don't do that too often. And the oldest was heading back from her spring break. So deciding on a movie as a family was really rough. So we went with Shazam. And I was just like, well, I'll just take a nap. I'm going to go so that I can hang out with my kids and my husband, but I'll just take a good solid nap for the duration. And I didn't fall asleep at all. I actually was pretty riveted. And the reason I'm bringing it up is because it's freaking good, but it's also reminded me of the trolls. It's the whole good versus evil. And the trolls are like the ugliest trolls in the world. Of course, they don't call them trolls in the movie. They're just like gargoyles and monsters and evil creatures. And they're just everywhere, everywhere. But the good guys win in the end, so it's cool. Me too, Alistair Grant. How do you look up that Grub Truck video? I need to have a look at that. The entire Grub Truck video is on Paula Plunder's channel. She got that Grub Truck video within, I'm going to say, 2 days of the incident. So go back on her channel to right around November 15th. She got that video so fast. I mean, that girl is a wizard with stuff like that. Um, and it's the whole thing. She's got the whole thing posted in her video. The original was deleted off Twitch. I downloaded it when it first came out because I knew it would get deleted. Very interesting. Very interesting. And like I said, Paula's got it. So I can put a link to that in the description of this video after we wrap up for today, which I do want to do in a minute. There are a couple of YouTube creators who have it. Right. Yeah, Paula is so on top of getting, just going right to the source and doing a public records request. So, and that's an interesting one. Like, did she go to the Grub Truck and ask them for it, or did she ask the police for it? Because obviously with the gag order, the police wouldn't want anybody to be having it, but she was quick. And that's the thing, is if you are super fast, if you know something happened and you make that phone call right away, you get your email out right away, they will give you the record before the office has even processed the situation. Say with the 911 call, if somebody had asked for that on day one, they would have gotten it. Pretty much guaranteed. Awesome job, Annie Pots and Plunder. Yes. I'm not sure, not cancer, but maybe mental illness and drugs. But please, that's what I learned from the newspaper. So I'm not labeling him. I feel heartsick for him. Yeah, that is devastating. I mean, that family, they did have that adorable little baby girl get born into the family a few weeks ago. So thank God for that, because that's got to be super sad, losing a brother to mental illness and drugs. It sounds like he's still alive, but not doing well. No judgment here. If someone is suffering from addiction or illness, it's all real and difficult to sort through. Yes, absolutely. And there are multiple people watching number 9 do it too. Number 8 Jersey, Tank Top Guy, Chick Talking to K, Jack S. They all seem to be watching it happen. And then, Jack S., who was the one who walked with the girls from the corner club, he went to Africa the next day, right? He's never been back in Moscow since. I find that interesting. Very, very interesting. So let's see. The last thing that I wanted to share with you guys today is a quote from 007. And it's from the last video that was put up like 3 days ago, I think. And he makes this statement, and this is wild, you guys. This is really wild. He says that the suspect tried to dispose of digital evidence and Detective Mallory was able to recover it. He literally makes that statement. The suspect tried to dispose of digital evidence and Detective Mallory was able to recover it. How would this YouTube content creator know this? That's what I'm talking about. So that was the last thing I wanted to share for today. And I'll read a few more of your comments here and then sign off. I got to get caught up with my Cliff Notes from yesterday's video. My goodness, my videos over the weekend, you guys, they have been rocking and rolling with the views. I don't know what's going on there, except that, again, I was kind of saying things that you shouldn't really say out loud. And I laugh. It's like funny, not funny. I mean, like saying that some people in the SWAT team definitely knew Kopaka. Like, I didn't realize it until I said it in my video. Literally. Absolutely. People in that SWAT team 100% knew Kopaka. I would bet my bottom dollar on it. period. So I think that was the video that people have been sharing a lot. And, it's funny, like, because I say these things, sometimes I kind of have these epiphanies as we are all having our conversation, and I don't even really catch it until I review the video. And I have to review my videos right away in case I made a mistake so that I can edit it and, yeah, I'll have to lose all the comments. And something I realized too, when you edit a live, you lose all of the chat, which is really annoying. You lose all the chat. So I try not to have to edit my videos. If you're editing just a regular video that's not a live, that's fine. I don't think you lose your comments or anything even if you edit it after it's been posted and seen. Um, but yeah, I made a Cliff Notes at like after 11 o'clock on Saturday night. If you haven't seen it yet, had to cut out about 2 minutes and 30 seconds where I was looking in my book for the name and the town of the business that Brett Payne has owned since he was 17 or 18. So isn't that weird that he owns this meat packing company? And you guys will remember me talking about it over the weekend, but I appreciate the person who corrected me when I called it South Hill um, Meat and Locker, and or I called it South Hill Meat Locker, right? And they said no, it's South Hill Meats and Locker. And I thought, okay, I do like to be specific. But that's interesting, and it was one of you guys that had a play on that word locker, and that was really creepy, just saying. But thank you, because I think that that's something to think about, you guys. I'm still confused on no footage of bodies being removed from the house. Well, I'm confused too, Sassafras. Thanks for bringing that up. Very confused. I mean, obviously they were going to try to be as discreet as possible, but it's pretty weird. Kale, thank you. I made sure multiple sleuthers and family PI got the pics. I have to drop down to quiet mode, listening or watching, but not 100% focused here. Sorry. Oh, you're good. I'm going to wrap up anyway. I wish he could pull back Snapchat. But you're right, they did. He worked at WSU. There are no roommates, and not all the kids were evacuated. So you're talking about Kopaka was security at Wazoo, and was Brian, the criminal defendant, also security at Wazoo? I'll bet the knife is at the meat locker. Oh, Annie. That just kind of puts a knife in my heart, really. I mean, this case is so sad, you guys. And, we talk about it. We're removed from it because we don't know these people personally. But this case is so gruesome. And it's just gruesome to have the effery and to have the gaslighting and to have the BS with law enforcement. Like, they need to buckle down, do their job, and move right along. Payne serviced Montana too. Right. Well, the meat locker is so close to the Canadian border, so close to Washington State, and so close to Montana, because it's right there at the northern tip of Idaho, where, yeah. I don't think it's weird. To me, it shows a kid with drive and knows what they want to do with their life. Okay. Where to get the money to buy it? Payne got some real negative reviews. There is roommates. I work for that apartment complex. You work for the coffee house apartment complex, Andy Libby? Interesting. Thanks for sharing. Very interesting. Why is a 36-year-old vet with PTSD living in student housing and not enrolled in any classes? Good question, Miss Annie Potts. Very, very good question. The case is mind blowing to me. Jack never went to Africa, just rumors. Okay, yeah, that's been back and forth. Jack Showalter's family, I think, goes to Africa pretty often because they're physicians and they do like missionary work. So, interesting that it's just the rumors back and forth. Yeah, I've tried to stay out of the whole Jack Showalter rumor mill because, you know, to me, he seemed like a nice kid who was walking the girls from the bar to the grub truck to make sure that they were safe. He responded kind of bizarre when they left and he chased after them, or it looked like he was chasing after them. I mean, he ran. It was weird. Um, but and then this happens. So, always the last people to have contact are of interest, right? Kopaka had depression and other problems. Yes, of course. I mean, you know, going into combat, it's hard not to. My grandfather, I've mentioned him many times. He was a colonel in the army. He also had a Purple Heart. He also had PTSD. Back then, there wasn't a name for it, and they called it shell shock, right? And um, he never spoke about it. He literally never spoke about it. Literally never spoke about it. And then I was in high school and I was supposed to interview somebody about something, and I decided to ask him questions about it, you guys. I wanted to share this with you. So yeah, here I was, like 17 years old, like, scheduled an appointment with my granddad to sit down with him and ask him about when he was in charge of the battalion and everybody died but him, and he won his Purple Heart. Was awarded his Purple Heart. He was left for dead. So um, they were grenaded, and he had shrapnel in his body for the rest of his life. He was left for dead, but somebody noticed that he was breathing, and they saved him. And here I am, however many years after the incident. It was the Korean War, and my grandmother was there at the house, and she didn't tell me until we were done with the interview. It was like a 45-minute interview, and I probably had it tape recorded, like on a cassette thing. And he went into full, like, reliving the experience, because that's what happens often when people tell the story, and it's therapeutic to tell the story. And so my grandmother actually wanted him to talk about it. She always had. So she was excited that he was willing to talk about it with me. But I had no idea the Pandora's box that I was rocking. So really wild. So I'm glad I shared that before wrapping up. Where are we at? We are almost an hour. Kopaka had a Spokane address, but he also had an Illinois address. Interesting. Um, he had over 10 addresses before they scrubbed his info. His obituary says he died of TBI from PTSD, but he was shot by SWAT. Right. And the guy who shot him, remember, is a sergeant for Wazoo. So again, if he was a sergeant for Wazoo and Kopaka was security for Wazoo, those two more than likely knew each other as well, you guys. A nice kid that liked hunting, still sus to me. And I don't share everything with you guys because this is like YouTube, right? But my husband is a hunter, so I know hunting. I mean, I'm not alien to it. And he hunted his whole life. He was brought up hunting. So he's a good guy. Being overambitious, get people in dirty business in my opinion. So sad. I just watched Frank Vandersloot set the record straight for 3 hours, 3 days before the attack. I now believe he was the target, and it goes much deeper than just Brian. Who's Frank Vandersloot? Is that a channel, Rachel Smith? Very interesting. I want to write that down because I won't be able to see the chat for half a day or a day until it gets put up. Frank Vandersloot. Jack and people. So yeah, I'll just share with you guys, like, the worst question I asked my granddad that I wish I was a little more gentle about was, I asked him how he felt about the fact that he was in charge and everybody died. But I mean, such a stupid kid, right? Like, that was the one question probably that my grandmother was like, yeah, that was kind of rough. And I think I just asked really naively. I was like, "Do you ever feel guilty for being the only one that survived, especially since you were the one in charge of all these people?" And like I said, he was awarded the Purple Heart for that, but you know, he was the only one that survived. And man, did he set off those metal detectors at the airport every time, and they'd have him stripped down to nothing, and they'd literally have to X-ray him to see the shrapnel in his back because they were not taking any chances. Um, let's see. Jack and people knew someone was following them. He told them when they left the Grub truck that they was going to get you all. Right. Yep. I'm with you on that, Rachel Smith. The Frank Vandersloot set the record straight for 3 hours, 3 days before the attack. I now believe he was the target, and it goes much deeper than just Brian. I think it's a big psyops, you guys. I think it is. Thanks to your grandpa for service. Sorry. Yeah. And he lived to be, I think, 67 because he was exposed to Agent Orange. So he got the cancer and survived for a long time with that. I don't question you. I was speaking to the comment from the person who works at Coffee House. Okay, I'm not even sure what that was. Let's see. But you're right. They did. He worked at Wazoo. Okay. Yeah. All right, you guys. Here we will actually wrap this time. I think they shot him to shut him up about something of the red rums. It makes sense to me, what you just said. So thanks so much again for being here, you guys. Please hit that like, share, subscribe if you feel so inclined. And thank you so much for just watching and sharing. And it's exciting to see the numbers go a little bonkers over the weekend. I'm just like, wow, I might be doing something right. But I really like this process. I really enjoy it. And I'm just so happy to have my viewers and really happy to have my laptop and happy to have my set, my design, my lights, all this stuff. It's a cool thing. Like I've said, it's really just another form of expressing yourself and talking about things that are very meaningful and things that are hard to talk about because, yeah, you don't want to put a target on your own back. But my belief is that staying quiet in a situation like this is not going to make you any safer. That's my belief. Vandersloot is my new hero. Good man, solid morals, values, integrity, and convictions. He brought up Kitty Geneva's during the presentation. So I'm still confused, Rachel. Is it a channel? I'll just Google the name and see what comes up. All right. Peace out, you guys. Have a great Monday. I hope that it's the start of a very productive work week. I hope you can get all of the rest that you need and get all the exercise that you need. Like every day, we're supposed to get 30 minutes minimum, bare minimum, more like 60 minutes. And, whatever that is, whether it's walking, stretching, riding a stationary bike, doing yoga, whatever you enjoy, whatever motivates you and inspires you. And if you're too tired to exercise, then that's take that directive from your body that you need rest. It's not good to exercise if you're not getting your rest. Um, and Pixie Knicker says, "Thank you, Jazz. I don't say much, but I enjoy your videos and appreciate your honesty and vigilance for justice. I have a lovely day." Well, and let me close with that from the movie that what was it that I saw yesterday? What was it called? The superhero movie, Shazam, I think. They kind of end the movie with justice. It's really cute. It's really funny. It was on East Idaho News. Oh, Frank Vandersloot is East Idaho News. Cool. I'll check that out. Thanks so much. Make sure you stay hydrated, drink all of the water that your body requires every day, eat really good protein, really good vegetables, really good produce, and be kind. Make sure people are kind to you. Make sure people treat you with respect and treat yourself with respect, right? All right, peace out. Sending you light, sending you love, and see you on the next one. Thanks so much.